Welcome to Who You Know with Michael Sublett of Odd Mo's Pizza and Arthur Meeker of Extreme Graphics. We're shining the spotlight on businesses right here in the Pacific Northwest, celebrating their growth, their networking wins, and the impact they make in their communities. From small town gems to big community players, this is where connection meets inspiration.
Kevin Manske, it's great to have you on our show.
Thank you very much.
I've known you for a long time now, a long time. We have a lot of breakfasts together and a lot of conversations. Currently, you're the director of the United Way of Lynn, Benton, and Lincoln County, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. But tell us a little bit of backstory about what you did previously.
Came to Albany and I got my 4-year degree in law enforcement from Western Oregon State College at the time. Now it's Western Oregon University. I was hired at Albany PD. Between Benton County and Albany, I was there for about 10 years. And then I helped run a local Target store and then opened up my own business in town. It was a firearms training and firearms retail shop. Did that for about 8 or 9 years. And then went into real estate, did fairly well in real estate, and I'm still in real estate, but then the United Way asked me to help them come over and kind of right the ship a little bit, and been there for about 3 years now.
We'll go back to your police time, being a police officer in Albany.
Yep.
How many great stories?
There are a lot of great stories. Some aren't probably appropriate for your viewership, but we went through Y2K, we went through 9/11. Funny stories at Y2K, they put us all in 2-person cars and they had us stationed around the city and we're in those old Crown Vics, and I remember the digital clock in the middle of the radio, and I was sitting, I think, with Jerry Morris in the old Coastal Farms parking lot and 10th and Hill, and we're just watching it, clock down, 12:58, or sorry, 11:58, 11:59, and then 12 o'clock came, and they had forecasted all hell was going to break loose, and we were going to lose all our money, and all the computers were in crash. We all just said, we're all here, and dispatch was, is everybody alive? And we're like, yeah, we're all alive, here we are. Wasted a lot of overtime that night, but that was just, we laughed about that. It was just kind of funny.
Did you have to do any high-speed chase or run people down on foot?
We did. I don't run very fast, but I tend to break more fences and go through the backyards that way. But that was a long time ago. That was 20 years ago. Yeah, right. we had our share of high-speed chases and up and down I-5 and down 99 and whatnot, and out by Bryant, and everybody they'd always lose it in the S curves out there, but on Bryant Drive, it's a hard right turn. There's about 3 or 4 hard right turns, and if you don't know it, and you just, because it's a straight stretch, and then you can get up to speed, and if you don't know, there's a hard 90, and there's about 3 of them, you just launch right off in the field. So lots of that stuff, yeah.
We were talking about earlier with our guest, John, that was just here, and we were talking about possible legal street racing, and I just mentioned the old Looney Lane area.
Oh, yes.
Out by LBCC.
Yep. Yeah. We didn't get out that far because that was county. They wanted us to stay in the city quite a bit.
I'm sure he knew that.
Well, and it was back in the day when there were 2 or 3 of us on shift, and remember the old Celebrities Bar at the TNR? I don't know if you guys know Albany. There used to be a big truck stop called the TNR. It's where the Phoenix Inn is now. It's that big kind of champagne sign right on I-5. And somebody got the great idea to split the bar in half. I don't know when, 1990 or 95, something like that. And they made half of it a rock bar and half of it a country bar. And almost every Friday, what?
Quite a combination.
Quite a combination. Every Friday or Saturday night, there'd be all kinds of bar fights in there, and you're coming over the bridge running code, and you see 40 people out there fighting, and there's only 3 or 4 on. It's kind of fun. That was a long time ago, that one.
So that was back in the time when the main roads were split still?
Yes.
Or they were on the one way, and all the cruising the gut, circle around by the Chevron station, go back up to Fred Meyer's.
Ninth was a 2-lane.
Right.
And that happened sometime, I don't know, 98, 99, when they did the couplet. So they turned 2 of our thoroughfares that were both 2-way roads into 1-way each way. So it took, I don't know how long it took, a year or so for the construction to happen. I don't remember. But I remember they had the whole drawing in the briefing room for a long time.
That was fun times back in the day when you used to be able to cruise.
Different world.
Yeah.
Totally different world back then.
Yep.
Yeah, we sound old.
So after you're a police officer, and then you had a gun shop.
I did. We had CNS Firearms right on Pacific. Did that for about 9 years. I was a firearms instructor during my time in policing and training up at the academy too. So those skills transferred over pretty well. And so we opened up a gun shop. We were doing gun shows on the weekends, like 3 or 4 weekends a month. We were doing training, live fire and concealed handgun classes whenever we could. Typically, there was one weekend a month we weren't at a gun show, so we'd schedule those at the range, and then we do all the book classes and stuff at night. So we had the gun shop, we had the live fire training business. Then we tried the laser shot, the laser
First Strike.
pneumatic First Strike. Yes,
Yep.
thank you. First Strike was there, and they took real guns and retrofit them so they were pneumatic when you pulled the trigger, and it would shoot a laser on a big screen. You can do all kinds of stuff. We did that, and then we moved the training down to Tangent. We got a bigger classroom down there, and it was dedicated classroom down there. And we stayed there for several years too.
What was one of the biggest takeaways from having the gun shop as a business owner?
Probably battling the political climate in Oregon. They didn't make it easy on us to do what we needed to do to give business, and then just the background check process took a long time, and it's very cyclical when it comes to politics. When Sandy Hook happened, it was tough to get inventory. So having a sustained amount of inventory, so you didn't have to order 100 things at once and then maybe get 2 or 3, and then a month later, or not a month later, 6, 8, 10 months later, then the rest of the order would drop, but you didn't need it then. So you were constantly trying to manage your orders, and stuff was out there. And then I think what's hurting brick and mortar, what started to hurt brick and mortar, and it's continued to decimate it, is the online sales. The Amazons of the world. And this was right when not Amazon, but online was starting to just get a foothold. And we couldn't compete. We were buying for the same price that these online places were selling for, with free shipping and whatnot. And it wasn't as prevalent as it is today. It was in the infancy of it, but you could see what was happening, and so I think that hurt too. We pride ourselves. We had really great customer service, and that carried us through for a long time. We did stuff you couldn't do through the mail. You could bring your firearms in, and we could help you out, or we could train you with it, or point you in the right direction. And we typically had a wide variety of inventory, especially accessories, so you could actually get it and touch it. But chances are, you might be able to get it $1 cheaper somewhere else online, and that's kind of just perpetuated itself.
Makes your margins awfully hard to maintain.
It does. You can learn how to mitigate the government. You just play by the rules because you aren't going to win it. But getting back to the online sales and whatnot, if somebody wanted to order something that we didn't normally stock, we typically had to accumulate a big enough order to order it. It'd be a $2,000 or $3,000 order from the distributor. And when you could start to get that one individual thing online and have it delivered to your house, it wasn't overnight at that time. It was 3 or 4 days. But in good faith, I would tell my customers, hey, I can't get it. It might be here in 2 weeks, because you have to go through the order process and make sure it's at the distributor and have it shipped. Or you could get it in 2 or 3 days, and for $1, it's like, go do it.
Yeah. That really made it tough for a lot of industries. He had a really cool wrapped vehicle.
We had 2 cool wraps.
Vehicles.
Yes, the wraps. You've done thousands of wraps now, but hands down, the vehicle wrapping was probably our best marketing tool we ever had. I would be in the middle of, I'd tell a story quite often, I would be in the middle of East Oregon, because we used to go there quite a bit, and somebody would inevitably come up and go, "Oh, you're the gun shop from Albany," and here we are in Burns. I'm like, how the hell do you know that? So those wraps are money. They're
I think
great.
the reason too is, when you say that, is because when you're really passionate about a hobby, it doesn't matter what you're really passionate about. When you travel and you go somewhere and you see a shop that sells something, guns, coins, tropical fish. I was a fish geek. And I would see the store and I would I got to go check it out, because, they're going to have the same shit you see at all the stores, but you might see something new and different. So I like that. So got out of that, and then real estate. You got into real estate.
I had an opportunity. A friend of mine said, "Hey, I'm starting a real estate company. I think you'd be good at it." I said, "I don't know much about real estate." I'm a social science major. I was a cop and I shoot guns. He said, yeah, but you've got the gift of gab and you've got the business experience and you know the people in town, and it would be a fairly easy transition. So as we were winding down the gun shop, I started doing real estate in my first 6 months, again, while we were winding the gun shop down, just to kind of see if I liked it or not. And it turned out to be fairly lucrative. We did some subdivisions. It was a good choice.
And then, so now you took on another project, not that you didn't have anything else to do.
Took on another project.
So director of the United Way.
About 3 years ago, at that time, the current CEO president decided he was going to leave and go somewhere else. And they had this position open, and a few people called him and said, hey, would you think about doing this? And I said, really, not really. I don't know much about it. I mean, it's business, it's kind of a nonprofit. Okay, I get what it does, but I didn't know the ins and outs, and a couple more people asked. And I had missed the project management, and I had missed some of the pieces that go into, business, but in this case, it was nonprofit management. So I asked them, well, I'd be happy to look at this, and we went through the process and whatnot, and they offered me the job, and I said, I still want to do real estate on the side. They said, that's fine, just make it work. And so it's been a good marriage ever since. And in the 3 years, we've had some really positive staff changes. We've turned the organization around, much more prevalent in the community. We're over 3 counties, which poses a different set of challenges, because the coast is completely different than the valley. And then when you're in the valley, you would think, Benton and Lynn County or Corvallis and Albany are fairly similar, and they are for the most part, but they are very different in kind of the social configuration of both cities. So we've got we got the coast area, and then we have the valley and all parts in between.
Well, that's a lot of work.
A lot of
going back
driving,
and forth.
yes.
Yeah, something that you guys took over this year, which was really cool. So Kevin he's really does a lot of service work in the community. So
Fair enough.
Rotary,
Yeah.
a big one, and then Rotary. Didn't have the group was dying a little bit, and so they had a really big event in Albany called the Crab Fest, and it was 25 years.
25 years this year.
Yeah, and Kevin was in Rotary for so long, and he was a big part of doing that. And now with United Way, they actually took it over from Rotary, and Kevin took it to a new level this year. Tell us about that.
So, as Arthur said, it had been an ongoing event every year, the Saturday before Super Bowl, for about 24 years. And our Rotary Club, he was part of it for a long time. It was their fundraiser. And as most service clubs are kind of going downhill now as far as in participation and membership, COVID really hit and it never bounced back for the most part. Rotary still got a lot of brand recognition, but it's still slowly dying, at least in the U.S. Overseas, it's actually growing quite a bit, which I thought was interesting. But I learned that last year. But so this event had been fun. It's kind of an Albany icon. Local bands, drink some beer, eat some crab, life is good, and the proceeds go to charity. And they made a fair amount. They made $10,000 or $15,000 on it, but it's very labor intensive for what you get out of it. Okay. So we had suggested over the years, being a part of the planning committee, hey, let's add this or change this or tweak this or maybe, and there was some pushback from the club. Is no, it's always been this way. We're going to keep it this way, and come hell or high water, that's what that's the way it's going to be. Well, fine. I wasn't the director of it, but we could all see that there could be some tweaks that would kind of alleviate some cost and maybe give you some more net. So when the director last year, or the guy organizing it, just said, hey, I'm getting tired of this. I can't do it. I'm not doing it anymore, whatever. I didn't want to see the event die, because it's a fun event. Uh-huh. So we started talking to the board at the club. We came up with an MOU, and we secured the rights and if you will, bought it from the club. We pay them a little bit every year on the net, and then we took it over, and we made some changes, brought in a different band. We were stuck in the location because it was too soon. We took it over in June, July, and then this thing happens in February. So we didn't have a lot of time to change the venue. The venue was already packed, and it was in a cool place. It's in Calapooya, so at the Calapooya Brewing downtown, which it's a great place, but the location has no parking. It can't grow. They're wonderful people, wonderful partnership, great food, great beer, but if you want to grow this thing, you can't expand it. So we had this year's Crab Fest. It was a great success. Everybody got happy. Not everybody got happy. That sounds weird, but we brought in the South Albany High School band. They played, and we brought in a band from Eugene. They played. We had a lot of community involvement. Ticket sales were up. Our net was up. It was a great event, and we've decided now to move it to the fairgrounds and pattern it more like the Newport Seafood and Wine Festival. It's not going to be the Newport Seafood and Wine Festival, but it's going to be bigger, better, more vendors, more bands. We could expand it to a couple days. We're looking at a lot of options, but having it at the fairgrounds now gives us the ability to grow it and to scale it and to really get some more net revenue to push back into the community.
Really great about planning, for Kevin planning that is Kevin likes to entertain. So
Yes.
we've gone back and forth with competing business after hours in the past.
We
Back in the
combined
day.
for a while.
Huh?
We combined for a while.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
a couple of years ago.
Yeah. The other really big thing is one of our guests that was on our show in the past. He is now working at United Way.
Let me guess. Robert.
No, Bobby.
Same thing.
Oh, Robert. Okay, yeah. I never call him.
Nobody calls him.
Who called us
No,
him Robert?
We call him.
It
I
threw
think
me
his
off.
mom calls him Robert or something.
When he's in trouble, maybe.
I saw his name come over on the health insurance application. It was Robbie. I'm like, who the hell's Robbie?
Oh, that is on now. Next time I see him.
Oh yeah, it's Robert. It's hilarious.
But yeah, so he left Furniture Share and
He did.
he's now working for United Way.
Bobby's a great guy. Love him to death.
Yeah, so really, everybody knows him. So Kevin is he's a car guy too.
I like to drive cars.
Well, but you wait a second. You have that really cool Jeep that you've had for
the Jeep,
years, and
yeah.
you've rebuilt it.
Yeah.
And you have a really cool shop that you tinker in all the time. And what's your project now?
So project right now, we call it my other girlfriend. At least that's what my wife calls it. So I go out to the shop to see my mistress, and everybody gets a big laugh out of that. It's a 73 Challenger. So it was a true barn find. I have a 2015 Hellcat that I really like driving. So it's the grandson or the granddaughter of this car. Right? So buddy of mine, I've been looking for there's two cars I still really want. I've got an 83 Jeep and a 64 Comet. Wife's got a little 67 Bug. And we got trucks and other stuff, but I've always wanted a 68 RSS SS Camaro. Always wanted one. And, coulda, woulda, shoulda, years ago, you could have bought them for, 15 grand and whatnot. And I had kids and blah, blah. Well, now they're 40 or 50 and they're tougher to find. And we had kids in college and, Crimea River type thing. So I don't have one yet. But I'd also been looking for a first gen Challenger. They're a lot rarer than the Camaros. They only made about 150,000, give or take, of the entire 4 years, where they're probably made 800,000 Camaros and a couple million Mustangs. And the first generation Challengers were built to take on that whole pony car. It wasn't so much a muscle car, it was more to get the pony car market, but they were typically a little bigger. They put in 340s and they had so anyway. Being a Mopar guy, I'd always kind of looked around at getting that first gen Challenger, and they're just 40 to 50,000, and again, kids in college and whatnot, right? So even in parts, they're $20,000 to do anything. So a buddy of mine called me up. A friend of mine is he's a great guy in Eugene. He used to say, buddy of mine's got this Challenger, and it's numbers matching. It's a barn find, but he doesn't want it anymore, and you should come and look at it. And this was like October, and 3 kids in college, and it just not going to work. I said, yeah, great. Thanks. But how much does you want for it? He said, I'm not sure, but it's numbers matching and everything's there and blah, blah, blah. I said, well, I'm going to have to pass. You know, I just don't have the cash right now. We just gone through a big remodel, and again, just the kids and everything. And my wife was not going to let us buy another car. I mean, I guarantee it. So he calls me back, and a couple months later, after Christmas, he goes, hey, the car's still here, and I really think you should come down and look at it. He wants you to buy it. I've kind of told him you're a Mopar enthusiast. You're ex-cop. He's a retired cop. You have the Hellcat. It would just make a lot of sense. You have the shop to do it. You can fix his car. And I said, well, what does he want for it? And he said some ridiculously low price. So it intrigued my interest. We went down there and looked at it, and this car it's pretty much all there, but it's all there in boxes. So he's got
boxes.
this thing stripped.
I wonder when you were kind of like, the way you was framing this, I'm like,
No, it's on a rotisserie.
Yeah,
and
it's on its stand. The body is on a stand, and everything else is in boxes.
It's on a rotisserie, and he had put everything else. So the story with this car was he bought it 5 years ago, give or take, from a guy who bought it 20 years ago. Okay, this is the story I got, and I'm pretty sure it's probably fairly accurate. 2 owners ago, guy buys it, strips it down, was going to make it his thing, and ended up dying. Okay, so he dies. The last owner bought it, and he was going to rebuild it, and he and his wife were going to drive off in the sunset. He was retiring from the police department. Life was good. And he decided, then his wife gets cancer, very sad story, and they decided to go buy another car so she could enjoy the car and not have to wait till the thing was done.
Yeah.
So they bought a Roadrunner and then drove, and then he just kind of lost interest in this thing and had been sitting in his shop for the last 5 years collecting dust. So it ended up, we brought it back up to our house. We had made 2 trips because of all the parts and everything and a trailer, but it's now our project. So it'll be fun once it's done, and it won't cost any money. So just tell my wife it's almost free.
Yeah, almost free.
Almost free.
what's funny is that kind of a project would just, that is way beyond anything I can imagine doing at this point in my life. I never worked on cars. I used to just race them, wreck them, break them, do everything like that. I had a bunch of friends. I'd bring the girls, I'd bring the beer, and they would fix my vehicles. I'd go out, race them and break them and do all that stuff. So I was the race car driver, not the mechanic. I should have paid attention, but at this point in my life, I had a Mustang, 66 Mustang, and it was just kind of like, to me it was just a car. It was a car that made it work. Well, long story short, this car ended up going away, and I reacquired this car 30 years after.
Oh, nice. Nice.
It had been sitting in the guy's backyard. I should say this guy's. It was an ex-uncle-in-law who said, I'll take care of your Mustang. I'll give you this, I'll give you that, because you're moving to California.
So
right?
rusted all the heck.
He never gave me anything.
Yeah.
And he just held it hostage. To the point where I'm like, I'll pay you for my car back kind of thing. And he wouldn't do it. We ended up passing on, and I ended up getting the car back. And so it sat for 30 years. Well, I don't know anything about cars, so I kind of went into this whole like, you know what? I am tired of not knowing anything about cars. So I just started. It was a full put together car. I mean, it was like really good.
Yeah.
But just been sitting. And so I went through and did the gas tank and then gas lines and then radio. So I slowly started putting all these different pieces away because I feel like it's such a, like you said, how many of these have been made? Yeah. So, and now they make parts, because there's so many people redoing them. So I thought I wouldn't have a hard time with parts. I wouldn't have to wait for a month. I wouldn't have to go to all these car shows to try to find that unique part. And so, so I've slowly been doing it. In fact, the last week we got that thing running again. I had got it running before, but then we did a couple things. And then since I don't know anything about vehicles really, I'm like, it's just not running anymore. Now I had to figure out how that worked. And so... But yeah, so I love that. I've had so much fun doing the rebuild kind of thing, but with no knowledge and a little bit of YouTube, a lot of YouTube. Just kind of learning about it. What a great thing. I just wish that I had the patience and the time, to be able to do it. But
well, in no way do I want to come off sounding like I am a mechanic. I am not. This is I build stuff with wood for the most part, but I'm learning, and I've got a good group of friends, and
that's the help.
Hey, if you buy enough Coors Light, they'll come over and help you. And that goes there, and then what they don't know, you can find on YouTube now. I mean, imagine trying to do this 30 years ago before YouTube. Here's your children's manual. Go forth and conquer. And no way. So it's going to be a long, expensive learning process.
Yeah.
So we got to know a little bit about Kevin, but let's circle back to United Way.
Sure.
Because United Way is a big part of your life right now.
Good.
And a lot of people don't understand United Way and what United Way stands for. And I know you get that all the time.
Every day.
Yeah, you know, to a lot of people, they think United Way is just another nonprofit that's looking for sponsorships and stuff like that. So you want to give us a little rundown and let our audience know what United Way is and why you're so passionate about it?
Well, United Way grew out of the thing called the Community Chest, and it's the oldest nonprofit, and it used to be the biggest nonprofit in the U.S. So the idea behind the kind of what started United Way was business didn't know where to donate money. This was back, 1880 something, and then 1910s, 1920s. It was easier for them to give, if they wanted to donate or help out their community, give it to an organization and then let the organization go out and find where the money should go, or who needs the money. That turned into a workplace campaign model where it's easier to give in today's world like $20 a paycheck than it is to write a check for $2,000 for a lot of people. So they kind of melded these two, and I'm being very 20,000 feet here, but they kind of melded those two ideas together. So businesses would through payroll deduction deduct money from workers' paychecks if they wanted to. It's completely voluntary, and then typically the corporation would match those donations and sometimes even double them. So you're in theory if a person gave $1, the company would match that. So you're actually giving $2 back to the community. So then United Way would be the convener, if you will, of those funds over all kinds of different corporations. And then they would go out and vet agencies or vet organizations and have them apply for grants and different denominations of grants. And then they would go and vet the organization, make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, and then the entity or the United Way office would vote and would award grants to different nonprofits. And it saved the companies a lot of time and money because it was easy just to give the money to United Way and let them do it. It's kind of like let the people who know do it, right? So that model went on for a long time. And United Way kind of went through a rebranding process about 10 years ago or so, where a lot of other nonprofits had their own foundations now, and they have their own QR codes, and it didn't make a lot of sense if your money wants to go to somewhere and you want to write a check for $1,000. Well, just go give it to that organization. So we became kind of the backbone for different nonprofits in our area, not just the funding mechanism, and we still do that. We still have a very robust campaign. We're fiscal sponsors for different nonprofits because it costs a lot of money to have all your accounting done and your bookwork done, and a lot of nonprofits want to do something. They want to feed the hungry, or they want to help kids, or they want whatever they want to do.
Whatever they're passionate about, yeah.
But it's the business side. They don't get the business side, or they don't want to deal with accounting, and they don't want to deal with profit and loss statements and financials. And in business or in nonprofits, you live and die by your financials. And so a lot of organizations don't like that or don't get that, and they get in trouble. So we're coming in, and every United Way is kind of an independent franchise, if you will. We pay United Way Worldwide, which is the parent company, dues, and as long as we kind of follow their guidelines, we're pretty much open to do what we want to. And that's good because every community is a little different. So we have the workplace campaign. We also manage a couple funds from the city of Corvallis and also from Lynn County. They give us money, and we push it out through the community impact process, and that process of vetting organizations and looking at the grant requests and then funding those based on their applications. So that's a big part of what we still do, but we also go out and help nonprofits do strategic plans. We help them with board engagement, how to get your board engaged, how to develop a board. We're also, fiscal sponsors, where we already do the accounting. We have an offsite accounting firm that we funnel a lot of money through them, and it's typically easier and cheaper for smaller nonprofits to jump on with us. And we can be their fiscal sponsor because we can charge them a lot less than what they're going to go pay their own accountant or their own auditor or whatnot. So,
and there's also the time and energy and hours involved.
And hours. And if you're doing something right, it's okay to let somebody else, it's okay for, if I don't know what I'm doing, or I can't do it very well, it's like you said, cheaper, easier, and better sometimes to just offboard that and then concentrate on what you really want to do. So
Yeah, and when you
that's,
think about it in the spirit of things, nonprofit agencies shouldn't be, you know what I mean? To be able to work as a unit is way more better for everybody,
yeah.
you know?
What we're trying to do is have people collaborate more, or different nonprofits collaborate more. There's a feeling out there that nonprofits are very protective of their donors. This is my donor base. Well, I'm sure it's the same way in Salem. It's prevalent throughout the country. It's a small town. Albany is a fairly small town. We have a lot of nonprofits. And when I mean Albany, I'm talking Lynn County and Benton County, the whole region, right? There's a lot of nonprofits, and everybody's trying to get money. And so they're starting to overlap services, and they're starting to kind of muddy the water a little bit. And this is Kevin Manske's opinion. This is not the United Way. But what we're trying to do is go after bigger grants to solve bigger problems and bring in other nonprofits. Because if there was, one example we used, there was a $10 million or a $2 million grant, but it needed 3 or 4 different components, and no nonprofit in our area had all those components. So we brought in people from the housing sector and the childcare sector, and they checked the boxes, and then we applied for that grant. And it's money that other nonprofits wouldn't get anyway because they don't meet all the boxes. But together, you can do more.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to build, and what our organization is really trying to kind of spread that idea. It's okay to work together. It's okay to share donors, and because if you do more together, that's better anyway. And kind of share the load a little bit and collaborate more. And we're having some success with that. And I think as we progress, things are only going to get more expensive. I don't think we're going to see a decrease in accounting services or rent or power or whatever else. So it makes more sense for people to combine, and you can still do your thing, but maybe you're only paying 1 copier service versus 5, or 1 accounting firm versus 5, or whatever that number is. It just seems to make more sense. It kind of goes back to business, economy in motion, or economy by scale, right? And it may cost 5% more to bring on somebody on the accounting firm, but they're going to save 30%. So that's our message there. And then we also are we sponsor and we facilitate the Dolly Parton Imagination Library for the 3 county areas. So that's the program where kids birth to 5 get an age-appropriate book every day or every month in the mail, free. So that's a great program. We can show that early literacy rates have gone up because of this program. We also do the LCAN, Lynn County Child Abuse Network. We're working with the community colleges right now for a student support service person. There's a lot of different programs that we're doing too. So it's not just one thing, and that's what is hard to make people understand sometimes. I don't have a puppy or a kid that I can say, this is what we do, right? We're kind of that backbone and that umbrella for the nonprofit sector in our region. And we have to wear a lot of different hats because there's a lot of different issues going on.
But you also financially support nonprofits.
Oh, absolutely, we do. Yeah.
You take your money that you've campaigned and you've raised, and you have allocations out to give to the other nonprofit. How many of those do you guys support a year?
Rough number, 75, give or take, and it varies a little bit every year.
Yeah.
But the workplace campaign, that money goes out there. The grants that we manage goes out, and then to your point, the other fundraisers we have, that money goes back to the different organizations or the Dolly Parton Imagination Library or wherever it needs to go.
That's what makes it very interesting, because you're going out there raising funds too, just like all the other nonprofits are, but you're giving your money to those nonprofits that are competing against you.
Yes, and helping them with their back end structure.
Yep.
Yeah, and giving them guidance and teaching them how to do some business type stuff.
I always found that fascinating. And a lot of people don't understand that. That's what United Way does, and that's really remarkable. I didn't know the full extent of it until you started working there, because I worked with the past directors, and that message wasn't always really clear, and you've done a really good job making that message clear in the communities.
We're trying
that
to.
And it's a big hill.
I get a lot from people our age, because we're all old now, right? Is, oh yeah, I remember the United Way, but what do you do? I remember the picture, the hand thing with the umbrella, and oh yeah, but the younger kids or the younger sector really doesn't know it, because they haven't. In my opinion, United Way Worldwide has had some challenges lately about advertising and kind of getting the word out. So, but once you start to peel back the layers on the onion, we do a lot of stuff, and we really do support a lot of the great communities. We're also an incubator for different programs. We have a Boys and Girls Club in Albany who started a dental clinic, and our United Way helped start that. And we grow it up, and again, the Boys and Girls Club does all the lifting now, but that was started with help from our office, and then they have taken it and just blown it up and grown it, and it's such a great program. Dolly Parton the same way. The Dolly Parton Imagination Library was the same way. So the United Way is an incubator too of great programs, and then once it starts to scale, we're okay handing it off to a different nonprofit that can take it and move with it.
So it's kind of fun because Kevin hardly ever says no to me. I got you into NBG.
Oh yeah, a long time ago.
And I can't remember, was I the one that got you into Rotary?
No, that was Brian Orr, I think.
Brian Orr did.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he's the one that got me into Rotary too.
Yeah.
So that was fun. And you've also been on the chamber board.
Yeah, been on the chamber board.
You're on the advisory board now or something, aren't you?
I'm on the governmental affairs committee.
Governmental affairs.
And then Honor Flight and the Cap School District, a couple different committees there, and there's been a whole host of stuff.
We have all this time because all your kids are pretty much grown and gone.
I've got one who is leaving for Idaho in a couple months. He's going to finish up his 4-year degree in forest management at the University of Idaho. We've got one who graduated a year ago, and she's now working over at Willamette Valley Vineyards. She's back in Albany. My youngest, we have a blended family. My youngest is graduating next month from Grand Canyon University with a marketing degree. And then we have our son, one of our other sons is over in the desert. He's deployed with the Army. And he's doing a great job over there. So we've got 4 kids that are mostly out of the house, and we're very excited to see how they progress.
Yeah, we've had a lot of conversations around how different the kids are and what directions they go as they grow up and stuff like that. So,
very different, yes.
I bet that was wild when you had them all at home.
4 kids in high school at the same time, because when we decided to get married, it's a blended family. So the boys are 2 weeks apart by just pure luck, and the girls are 3 weeks apart, and there's about 17 months between the boys and girls. So we had 2 seniors and 2 juniors in high school, and then for a while there was a foster kid thrown in the mix of them too. So high school was fun.
Sounds like it.
High school was
Yeah, ours was, we had 5. We blended.
Oh, okay, there you go.
And so I'm very familiar with that.
You get that.
But good. It sounds like they're getting ready to do something good though. I mean,
They're
you
doing
got
good things.
4 different things. It looks like you got Willamette Valley, you had Army, you got Forest Service and stuff. So it's just like, and then
And they're all completely different too. One races cars.
sounds like your career.
Yeah, well, the helicopter mechanic likes to race cars, and he's got these little go fast cars. I think he's got a Hyundai Velociter or whatever they call things, and he's racing stuff, right? Our oldest loves the outdoors and is going to be the forestry management guy and would rather be talking to a tree than a person. I mean, that's his thing. And we have my daughter Olivia. She's graduating next month, and she's going to be in some urban area doing social media marketing. And Grace she's not quite sure what she wants to do yet. She has a degree in communications. She took a year off after graduation and literally traveled the world. So she went to Colombia and Hawaii and Vietnam, and she was at the Grand Canyon when it burned down last summer. And she has a very eclectic travel story for the last year, and she's again doing events marketing up at Willamette Valley Vineyards and loving it and doing a great job. So they're all completely different.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad office.
Yeah, good view. Yeah,
Yeah.
good view.
living at your house with all those kids at the same time. And you also like to cook. I see you posting stuff on social media all the time. You smoke your own cheese.
We do smoke our own cheese. When you have the 4 kids, you just learn to cook, and my wife does not like to cook at all. And that was our agreement. I would cook and do the shopping, and she would do some of the other house chores, and that she was dead serious about that. I thought she was joking, but no, it turned out, and that's how it works. So yes, we tend to cook. You can cook better than a lot of the stuff you can get out in restaurants and whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fun.
I'm working on my backyard paradise. You say you have your backyard paradise and it's got all the setups and stuff. I'm working on mine right now,
Good.
and I just can't wait till I get it to the point where I have that landing spot. Because I've had a Blackstone, I've had a Traeger. I've had a Traeger for 3 years. I've used it once.
Oh really?
And it's just
crime.
life has been happening and all that stuff. I just can't wait. When he's talking about that, I'm like, that'd be so nice.
When we moved into the house that we're in currently, it had an in-ground pool. And in-ground pools is kind of a funny story. In-ground pools in Western Oregon, you don't use them that often unless it's covered and it's heated. And okay, so when we moved in, the kids loved it, and it was an older pool, and we knew there was going to be some maintenance to it. But we started. We wanted our house to be the house that the kids came to, so we could watch them. I mean, that's the real reason. So we started doing the patio, and we started doing this entire backyard around this in-ground pool. And then when it was time to put a new liner in it, we had to cut the concrete out, the apron around, because they were going to put new coping in and whatnot. So the pool guy told me, okay, cut it out and then start pumping it out, and then I'll be there the next day to come in and put it in. It takes about a day to pump the thing out. It was about, 35,000 gallon tank or something. So we started on a Sunday night, and I got up the next morning, and the pool had collapsed on all 4 sides in. And so we looked at
the pool guy and go, there you go.
There were words. Yeah. Well, what happened, when they built the pool, they put the supports in, or built it out of wood, and they put it in the dirt, back in the 70s. So they had rotted, and then they had backfilled it with pea gravel. So when when the water went out, all the pea gravel started to, and it literally caved in this way. So we looked at putting a new pool in, because the kids were devastated. I mean, they were abused kids because they didn't have a pool anymore, and blah blah blah. And it was going to be like $90,000 to put a pool in for something that we used, 2 months out of the year. So we live literally 3 blocks away from the country club that has a big pool. That's not year round, but during the summer it's open, and the social membership up there is like, $300 or something. So we made a deal with the girls, because the guys didn't care. We don't care about the pool. So we said, okay, we'll get you guys a membership. You can walk the 3 blocks to the country club, and we'll just make a waterfall or something out of the hole. And that was, they reluctantly agreed to it, and they used it twice, I think. The next year, the whole country. So it's
easy when it's in your backyard.
Well, that $300 was less than what we were paying in chemicals, basically a month for that stupid thing. So we continued to build around, but now it's just a party place, and we got a fireplace and a kitchen out there, and it's pretty nice. But that was a place where all the kids came.
Yeah,
And
I feel the same way about that. I was always the coach. I was always, because it gave me an opportunity to share those moments with my kids directly.
Yep.
So that's great.
We had a volleyball player, 2 band geeks, a cheerleader. There were Boy Scouts in there. There was something else too. Band geeks, that's what they call themselves.
I get it.
How they go by.
That was.
And so and then during COVID, it became the place that we had board meetings for different organizations at, because you couldn't meet anywhere else. So we went to their backyard and had board meetings.
That's great.
We were there a couple times for MVG meetings.
Oh, he's got his list of fire.
But I relate with that, because our house used to be the hangout for all the kids to play D&D and Magic and all those. The kids were all geeking and that, and then they got girlfriends, and that changed, and so their friends didn't hang out. It's just interesting dynamics. But what's your favorite season?
Either late fall, probably late fall.
What do you always carry in your pocket?
Depends on where I am. But obviously my keys and my cell phone, and then usually there's a pocket knife or a Leatherman or something in there.
Cool. What emojis do you overuse?
I don't use a lot of emojis. The crying happy face is probably the one I use the most, or the thumbs up. And I recently learned that thumbs up means something different now.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It's
I don't-
like brushing off. Like, yeah, okay, got it.
I heard it was.
I heard it was worse than
It
that.
was the middle finger now. And
I didn't know
had
that.
not heard
See,
this
I don't
before.
know.
What's your hidden talent?
Hidden talent. I'm an open book, but I would say I'm a pretty good cook and I'm a mediocre drummer.
If you had your own billboard out there on the street, what would it say?
It's a weird question.
Yeah.
It is a weird question, but
Right.
Probably support your kids.
okay. One thing most people don't know about you.
I was born in Maine.
Oh, I didn't know that. You're right.
I lived there for a whopping 5 weeks.
Wow. There you go. Early bird or night owl?
Oh, early bird, 4:30 every morning.
The coast or the mountains?
God, that's tough. It depends on the season because I'm a crabber, but I also love to be up in the hills, and I spend weeks at both. So I got to pick one. I'm going with the coast, but that's
Yeah. 59,
That's a tough-
51, 49.
51-49.
Well, you're a hunter,
Yeah.
and you also like to crab.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I get
So
that.
That's why we love Oregon.
Not the valley, okay? Not the valley.
valley, right.
Coast or mountains.
Sweet or savory?
Savory.
Book, movie, or TV show?
Probably movie at this point.
Dog or cat?
Dog, hands down.
One word to describe you today.
Confident.
Good, like that. A tiny habit that makes a big difference.
Listening.
Favorite color?
Blue.
One more. Oh, what is your superhero? Who's your superhero?
Maverick from Top Gun.
Okay. And if you could be a superhero, who would it be?
Maverick from Top Gun. But he's not really a superhero. He's
No.
just probably Batman, I guess. He has some really cool stuff on his bat belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a question. What's for lunch?
I don't know. It's your town. I don't know.
Hey, Kevin, thanks for being on our show today.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. It's been real.
It's been real. It's been real. And no, honestly, you're an amazing person because you give so much of yourself to the community and all the different organizations that you participate in and you have a part in and you help steer the direction of it. It's real fun because we've shared being on boards together and stuff like that, and I enjoy that. So,
Well, thank you for the kind words. You're all same to you. I'm sure to you too. But you give so much back to the community too.
yeah,
So.
well, thank you. But it's